In this grade 12 mathematical literacy video, we are going to be looking at the May-June 2024 question paper to prepare ourselves for your May-June 2025 upcoming test. So we are going to look at a past paper to prepare for the paper that's coming up next. Right now we are looking at a paper 2. We have already done a paper 1. Make sure that you go look at that one if you haven't done it yet. But this time around we are looking at a paper 2. There are some of you who have asked me to cover paper 2 or paper 2 topics, so this is specifically the video for you if you're still struggling with topics that relate to paper 2. Hence I say there that we are going to be looking at paper 2 topics. So we are going to cover everything that concerns measurement. We are also going to do maps and scales. Also we are going to do some assembly questions. Question 1 of our paper in 1.1, it says Pinda went to the shops to buy groceries. She checked the odometer of her car before driving. The reading of her odometer was 123,456 as indicated alongside. So on the alongside they show you the odometer of her car, and then it says the study the information above and use it to answer the following question. 1.1.1, choose the letter of the answer that will complete the following statement. The odometer is an instrument that is used to measure. So what this is, it's a concept question. Now when it comes to paper 2 likes to use measurement concepts, so make sure that you are familiar with measurement concepts. You will see that even when we get to other parts of measurement, they will ask you to define things like capacity, for example. So make sure that as you are studying and preparing for your paper 2, you get very comfortable with discussing different concepts. Be able to give definition or to choose from a multiple choice if you must. So what is an odometer? An odometer is an instrument that is used to measure distance. So our answer there will be B, which is distance. In 1.1.2 it says express the reading on the odometer in words. You are supposed to write that amount in words. It's 123,456. The issue here is you being able to spell correctly and to place end. I notice most students struggle with where does the end go. So 123,450. If you notice, it's after 100. End only comes after 100, not after 1,000. There are some people who will say 4,000 and there is no such thing as 4,000 and unless the 100 is not there. Where there is 100, there is a 0. That's where you can say 4,000 and so, but if it's not there, it's 100 and. Then in 1.2 it says Pinda bought the following ingredients to prepare a ginger drink. They give you the ingredients there and it says note the drink serves 40 people, and then in the box it says note 1 teaspoon is equals to 5 grams, 1 liter is equals to 1,000 centimeter cubes. So this is a question on measurement that uses ingredients. The first question in 1.2.1 says define the term capacity in this context. We were just talking about this. You will find a lot of concepts sprinkled out through your paper, and this is one of them. They want you to define the word capacity. So in context basically means that you have a standard definition of what capacity is. It is the amount of space that can be occupied. But if we are using it in context, we will say the amount of space in the bucket that can be filled with a ginger drink. What is capacity? The amount of space that can be occupied. That's when you're not discussing it in context of anything. But if we are forcing it into this context, I have to mention the space in the bucket filled by what? The ginger drink. 1.2.2 says express the ginger to tartaric acid in simplified ratio. We see that the ginger is 25 grams, the tartaric is 12.5. Divide both sides by 12.5. Your ratio is 2:1. 1. Why did I divide both sides by 5? I wanted to get rid of that decimal. The easiest way to get rid of a number with a decimal is to divide it by itself, because that will turn it into a 1, and it becomes perfect because 12.5 fits perfectly into 25. It goes in 2 times. 1.2.3, how many teaspoons of tartaric acid are required to prepare the ginger drink? We see that we need 12.5 grams. 1 tablespoon is made up of 5 grams. So the simple thing to do here is take 12.5 grams and divide it by 5 grams. And this shows me I need 2.5 teaspoons. That's what 2.5 is. It's 2.5 teaspoons. So that's what's going to be required to fill that in. You can write it in words as 2.5, as 2.5, sorry, or you can simply leave it as 2.5. Either way, it's still correct. It's only 2 marks after all. 1.2.4 says convert 10,000 centimeter cubes to liters. You simply divide by 1,000. Where do I get it? Again, in my note, it said 1 liter is equals to 1,000 centimeter cubes. And when I divide it, it gives me 10 liters. You have to be comfortable with playing with your conversions. In 1.2.5, it says determine the amount of sugar that is required to prepare a ginger drink that can serve 200 people. Now, the recipe that we have here can only serve 40 people, and for that, the sugar we need is 1 kg. So if we need 1 kg for 40 people, how many are we going to need for 200 people? You simply take the 200, divide by 40, and it shows you that you are going to have 5 kg required. In 1.3, Pinda lives in Edenvale. She visited her friend in Springs. She decided to use the national roads to travel to her friend's house. The map she used for traveling is shown in Annexure A. So this is us getting now into the topic of maps and scale. So when we're going to look at our map, we are going to have to pay attention to things like what is our scale, what is our directions, because with a map we need directions. So we need to know where is our north point so that we can be able to give directions. It says they study the map in Annexure A and the information above to answer the questions that follow. In 1.3.1, it says which national roads must she use from Edenvale to Springs? So we are going to go to our Annexure A to look at, if I'm in Edenvale, how do I get to Springs? So you will see that where Edenvale is, the next national road next to it will be the N12, and Springs is next to the national road of the N17. So either one of those you can use as your answer for your 1.3.1, N12 or N17. They're not going to be strict on that because they didn't say give directions. They just said which national road or roads you have to use. In 1.3.2, it says what is the general direction from Edenvale to Springs? You will see Edenvale is at the top. You go down and then you go to the east. So we will say the direction is southeast. That's your direction. 1.3.3, name the type of map presented in Annexure A. The type of map that we are looking at there is called the regional map. It's a map of a region. Guys, go research and find your different types of maps and be able to differentiate them. In question 2, it says Priscilla was invited to the University of Pretoria for an interview. She used the map in Annexure B to get to her destination. Study the map in Annexure B and answer the questions that follow. In 2.1.1, it says how many provinces are presented in the map. So when we get to the map, we can look for that question. Let's also look for 2.1.2, which says which neighboring country is found on the western side of Limpopo. So let's look at our map and be able to answer those questions. So in our map, I don't know if you will be able to see it from this video, but make sure that you go to the description box below, download the addendum, and you should be able to see proper. But from this map, we can actually see 5 provinces, and to the north of Limpopo we have Botswana. So the first question, how many provinces are presented in the map? If you pause the video there, or if you download the addendum, you will see 5 provinces. And then in the next question, which says which neighboring country is found on the western side of Limpopo, meaning on the side from the west of Limpopo, you will find Botswana on the west of Limpopo. This is not on the north of Limpopo, where you would find Zimbabwe, which most of you could be expecting would be the answer. They said to the west. In 2.1.3, it says identify the scale used in the map. That map actually uses a bar scale. You will see at the bottom of that map, if you blow it up or you are looking at the addendum, that we are actually looking at a bar scale. Then 2.1.4 says give a set of directions that Puseleto should use when traveling from Vryburg to Pretoria. When they say a set of directions, they just simply mean give in bullet point form the directions step by step that you will have to take to be able to move successfully from Vryburg to Pretoria. So again, you will need a better picture of this map for you to see how she moves from Vryburg to Pretoria. Give 5 bullet points for full 5 marks. So you will say that she must travel towards northeast, use the N14, pass the upcoming 4 towns, enter Gauteng province, and then Pretoria will be on the N1 once you've entered Gauteng province. So when you're looking at your map proper, you will be able to see all of these directions and how we came up with this answer. So what I can recommend you do right now is that you write this answer down somewhere, and then later you will confirm it with your addendum map. Then the next question says Puseleto claimed that the actual distance that she will cover when traveling from Vryburg to Pretoria will be more than 450 kilometers. Verify her claim by using the map and the scale to calculate the actual distance. So what this gonna require is you to have an A4 copy of this question paper to be able to do this proper, because what you need to do is you need to take your ruler and measure the bar length first, meaning you're going to go to the addendum and you're going to place your ruler on the centimeter side and measure the length of that bar you've been given. Accurately, if you measure it, it will give you 2.5 centimeters. Then you will do the same thing for the distance between Vryburg and Pretoria. So you will place your ruler and measure from Vryburg to Pretoria in centimeters. How much is that? That should give you 10.9 centimeters. Then to get actual distance, you take those two numbers, have them divide each other. They will give you 4.36. Then you multiply that by 100 kilometers. Where do I get it? From the end of the bar scale, it tells you that's supposed to be 100 kilometers. So when you multiply with it, it gives you 436, and therefore her claim is invalid, because in her claim she said she will cover more than 450, and as you can see, this is 338 kilometers. So the key there is have your ruler in the exam room. In 2.2, it says Puseleto left Pretoria at 13:30. She stopped twice, once for 10 minutes and again for 15 minutes to freshen up. She arrived in Vryburg in 17:45. 2.2.1 says determine the average speed at which she was traveling in kilometers per hour. Round off your answer to the nearest whole number. You may use the formula time is equals to distance times speed. So take note, she arrived in 17:45. She left in 13:30. She stopped for 10 minutes and for 15 minutes. And also take note of our formula. So what you need to do is you need to separate the time she arrived and the time she left. So that's 17:45 needs to minus 13:30. So we will start with the minute side. Start with 45 minutes from the 17:45 minuses the 30 minutes from the 13:30. That will give you 15 minutes. Then you will take the hour side now. The 17 hours minus 13 hours, you are left with 4 hours. So basically the time from she left to the time she got there. That's 4 hours and 15 minutes. Now we need to take out the minutes of the stops. So there was a 10 minutes and a 15 minutes. Together they make 25 minutes. Now you will see on my part of minutes there it says 4 hours and 15 minutes. So the 15 minutes is not enough for me to be able to minus the 25 minutes of the stops. That is the 10 minutes and the 15 minutes. What do? I go to the side of hours and I borrow 1 hour. Then 1 hour turns into 60 minutes. So now I'm having 75 minutes. That's the 60 minutes plus this 15 minutes that was already there. From that 75 minutes, I minus my 25 minutes of the stop, the 10 and the 15. I'm left with 50 minutes. And in total, I have 3 hours and 50 minutes. Now, the formula requires that I use hours only. So I need to convert the 50 minutes into hours. How do I do that? I take the 50 minutes and divide it by 60. It gives me 0.833. I add it to the hours of 3 hours that I was left with. And now I have 3.83 hours. Now I can plug into my average speed formula. The distance is 436. Divide by 3.83. I get 113.838, rounded off to a whole number, and it's 114 kilometers per hour. So that is my calculation. Then the last question of question 2 says, in 2.2.2, name one disadvantage of traveling during the day. So what is the inconvenience of traveling during the day? There are a lot of traffic delays or traffic jams. So this is one of those general knowledge questions. Don't leave them blank. Use logic and make sure that you answer them. So there is traffic delays. Question 3.1. Tammy has a bakery and he supplies wedding and birthday cakes to local supermarkets. He was requested to bake a birthday cake with the following dimensions and specifications. The top tier has a diameter of 20 centimeters, a height of 15 centimeters. The bottom tier has a radius of 12.5 and a height of 200 millimeters. It also says it will be covered with icing except for the bottom of the cake and the top of the surface area on which the top tier will be resting. This is what we need to keep in mind when we start icing the cakes, that there's going to be some parts that are not going to be touched by the icing. Then at the bottom it says syrup will be used to stack the 2 tiers. Refer to tiers to layers of cake. The cake should be baked at 180 degrees Celsius. Then we are given a diagram of what the cakes look like. We are seeing that the top tier has a diameter of 20 centimeters and the height of 15 centimeters, and the bottom tier has a height of 200 millimeters. In 3.1.1 it says identify the shape of the top tier of the cake. Obviously a cake is in a circular shape. Shape, but it is more of a 3D shape. So what it is, it's a cylinder. So that's the answer to that question. Our shape there is going to be a cylinder. Then in 3.1.2 it says convert the temperature required to bake the cake to Fahrenheit. Remember they said it needs to bake at 180 degrees. So basically we are converting the 180 degrees Celsius into Fahrenheit using that formula that says Fahrenheit is equal to open bracket degrees Celsius multiplied by 9/5 close bracket plus 32. So where there is a degree Celsius, we simply insert 180 into the calculation and you solve what's in the bracket and then you add the 32, and then what is going to give you in the end is 356 degrees Celsius, and that way you would have answered your question. So this is a matter of substitution. If you place your brackets correctly, you can get away with that, with just punching the whole thing in your calculator. That's if you can place the brackets correctly in your calculator. In 3.1.3 it says calculate the volume of the top tier. You were given the formula pi times radius square times height. We are needing the radius of the top tier, we were given the diameter. So how do you get diameter? How do you get radius when you're given diameter? Rather, you simply divide by 2. So the 20 centimeters in diameter divided by 2, I get 10 centimeters in terms of my radius. Then I plug into my formula for radius, pi times 10 square times 15, which was my height, and it gives me a volume of 4,713 centimeter cube. You need to put that cube over there at the top to show that you have just calculated volume. The units are very important, guys, when it comes to measurement, so make sure that with every answer you put in the relevant units. With volume, obviously centimeter cube, whereas with area is going to be centimeter square. In the next video, we will continue with calculating the total surface area that needs to be iced. That is the bottom tier excluding the top tier, so it's worth 8 marks and you don't want to miss it for anything.